Oh, man. How y'all all? Welcome. Moon Griffon Show already hump day for you people like Brandon Como looking forward to the weekend.
Heck yeah.
And this weekend especially.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Brandon's been married a year.
Yes, sir.
He's still having fun.
Yes,
the
sir.
kids are not running around yet.
Yeah.
When somebody says, when you have a baby, it changes your life. Really? You think so? You ought to try 4. Actually, once after you have 2 and you get to the third one, you could have 9. I know you're going, no way. No, seriously. You could have 9 because your life goes.
Sounds expensive, Moon.
Well, I know if you look at it from a money standpoint, you will never have a baby. I've heard people go, oh, we waiting to save enough money to have a baby. You will never have one.
Yeah.
I've heard my mama say that.
Yeah,
I've heard we've had 5 of us. 4 of them kind of ugly, 1 good-looking one. But anyway, that's beside the point. We won't get into that. Anyway, true, Brandon, that once you have once you have 1, you can pawn the kid off on each other. Once you have 2, you can all take care of 1. Once you have 3, go over there and you can't handle 3 at one time. So 4, what's 4? You just put 2 over there to have fun. Anyway, I'm just messing with you. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline if you'd like to be part of the Moon Griffon Show. Now, the cat tax didn't go nowhere. Didn't even move.
That was better than any song I could have played, by the way.
The cat tax was dead when it was. What's amazing? John Bell Edwards and co-governor Jay Darden, they come up with this task force. Brandon, if I moved that thing, I'm sorry. They come up with this task force to come back and tell them to raise taxes. That's all the task force was. Then the press, the task force, the task force, the task force, the task force. That's all you hear about. Okay. And this is what's odd about this. The task force comes up with their stupidity raising of taxes. By the way, we do talk about taxes on this program. It's been pointed out. We have this task force that the press jams down our throat. The governor jams down our throat. Darden jams down our throat. The left jams down our throat. This task force, this brilliant task force. By the way, John O'Leary on the task force, Jay Darden on the task force, to raise taxes. And then when the governor presents his budget and he presents his big grand scheme of things of trying to do something, he comes up with a cat tax. I call it a stupidity tax. And the business people are upset that he even tried to do this. But why would he come up with a stupidity tax? And the whole time, folks, y'all know this, since the task force came out with their, quote, plan, they drove this in our hearts and minds of, this is the way to do it, we got to do it. But yet, the first thing he brings out is the cat tax. And I'm just wondering how sincere this governor is. How sincere was this governor when he presented the cat tax? By the way, he wasn't even there when it was being presented, Brandon. What was the Jones? Sam Jones, Representative Jones, a Democrat out of Franklin, Democrat, who is a Bell Edwards sycophant. He's the one that did all the sponsoring of it. Bell Edwards was not even there. I don't even know if Jay Darden was there when it was presented. Why?
I hadn't heard Jay Darden's name in a while.
Jay Darden?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he'll probably sink back, and so people don't know who he is anymore. But the problem is, if you're the governor and you really believe in this tax, why didn't you stick your nose out there and present it? Why didn't you sit there and answer questions? He didn't do it. And I'm starting to believe this cat tax was just a meow. There was nothing to it. It was never going to pass. So they can run back to what they really want to do, which is Stelly on steroids. No deductions. But Bell Edwards knows he better get rid of this sales tax, or he has no base. None. But yet he led the charge to put the sales tax on us. So the cat tax is dead. Where are they going now? Just make sure you can hear us, that we're in good shape. Okay, we're good.
We're good on the network.
Okay,
Yep.
good. Anyway, so I think this tax was put out there and floated Because now politically, that's what I try to tell Mr. Couson, who came through here yesterday. Politically, they're going to put the pressure on the House Republicans. Not the Senate Republicans, by the way. Not John Alario. Everything goes back to the House. And why is that? I thought we had a House and a Senate and an administration. I thought all this stuff's supposed to work together. How come it's always on the House? Because they want to go back to what they originally said. You're going to see it now every 5 seconds. The task force, the task force, the task force. They're going to shove this task force crap back down our throat, and then here comes the pressure from the people who benefit from higher taxes. Which, by the way, nobody really benefits from it, but they think they do. Governor Edwards says, at this point in time, I'm looking for the House leadership to step up, offer solutions, and not just continue to say no. It's not what they're saying. They want to look, and I'm reading this a lot now, and Mr. Couson said it yesterday, and I read it from other people. They want to look at a standstill budget and take last year's budget or this year's budget and say, here's what we have coming in. This is so much common sense. It goes way beyond elected official, way over the top of their head. To take the amount of money you know you got in last budget. This is actual money that's come in, and we're going to base every budget off of this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if somebody wants 8% increase and 6% increase. The problem is we don't generate that kind of revenue. So what they're trying to do is generate it by taxing us to prosperity. And it can't happen. It can't happen. This cat tax was an example. I think this was a fake tax. You ever heard of fake news? I've heard of fake conservatives who try to convince me they're conservatives. There's a lot of fake conservatives that want to be Republicans but not conservative. They'll run on conservative principles. No taxes, and then increase them. But I'm convinced now what you're going to start seeing is a jam on the Republican leadership. But why? How come they're not jamming John Alario? Well, they're not jamming John Alario because he'll vote for any tax and every tax anytime. He voted for all 8 of Bobby Jindal's budgets. He led the charge for Bobby Jindal's budgets the last 4 years and the last 5 years, including Edwards, and he's leading the charge now. But why don't they go to him and say, okay, John Alario, the adult in the room, give us your budget plan, buddy. No. Only the House Republicans have to come up with a plan. This cat tax. Danny Rouse, CEO of Thibodeau-based Rouse's supermarket chain, stressed that the cat tax potentially negative effects on the grocery industry. Rouse said if the measure passed, the chain may have to cease accepting money orders and gift cards should those be considered gross receipts. Cat puts our business at the losing end. Mitch Rotolo of Rotolo's Pizzeria, 31 restaurants in 4 states. The governor says we don't pay our fair share. Honestly, that's an insult. It is an insult, and Edwards continues to say this. And you want to know why ExxonMobil, whatever it is, man, ExxonMobil, they go to Texas and they don't come here, and you got a governor saying, y'all don't pay your fair share. Y'all don't pay your fair share. Rotolo has been eyeing and opening a store in Alexandria. Alec, I'm telling you, I love the food. They do a great job. But he told lawmakers, you keep putting a burden on me, I can't go there. Chris John, president of Louisiana Mid-Continental Oil and Gas Association, said a tax plan would harm the industry that's already struggling. And let me give you one other one before y'all raise all these taxes, y'all. Homer Thibodeau has lost another 1,300 jobs. Homer Thibodeau's 1,300 jobs lost 1,300 jobs last month and 5,200 over the past year. The metro area comprised of Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish has already lost about 14,000 jobs, over 1 of every 10 since mid-2014. And we got the governor and Bill Edwards and some of these Democrats and a bunch of Republicans who don't mind raising your taxes. How do you go down there? How do you come to Lafayette? How do you come to these oil and gas industries and tell them, we're going to raise your taxes? Tough. This is what they're saying. Any lawmaker that votes for another tax is going to hell with y'all. We're putting them on y'all because we need the money. You don't even have a job, and they need the money. Some people don't have a job and hadn't moved back in a house yet, but they need the money, and you don't. That's when I pick up and read this. Third highest unemployment rate in the country. How can they be talking about tax increases? How can they be talking about them? And there's Bel Edwards trying to put a tax down our throat, but I don't think he ever intended the cat tax to pass. I think it was floated. So now watch the rally back around the task force, which was led by John Alario and Jay Darden. How come they don't call John Alario, the magician, the Michael Jordan of the legislature, the grown-up in the room? Why don't they call him in and say, okay, John, what would you do? But you don't hear nothing from Alario. He's cooking crab stew, inviting people to eat crab stew so he can cut deals because he's a deal maker. He caused almost all these problems we had. People led right down the road when Jindal was there. He's not even challenged. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But it's dead. It's like it got run over by a truck. We'll take a break. Be right back. Cat scratch fever in Baton Rouge. Cat scratch fever. Oh, it's in Baton Rouge. Oh, yeah. That's what we got in Baton Rouge. A little cat scratch fever in Baton Rouge, folks. And the fever just went away. All it took was a dose of not Tylenol, not Advil, but a touch of conservatism. And you ran it out. Cat scratch fever. You get rid of it with conservatism. That's how you get rid of it. And they did. And they said, man, we don't want this. I don't understand a person. By the way, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. I don't understand a state. And I don't understand the thinking of a Bel Edwards, Jay Darden liberals that they are. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat. Proving just because you vote with Republicans don't make you a conservative. Let me repeat that again. Just because you vote for Republicans don't make you a conservative. Mark Abraham, are you listening today? I hope so. If not, tell your bride hi for me, because I know she is. Anyway, 844-766-6607. It doesn't make any sense to me. We got economy struggling. We got unemployment's up. We had the floods. And you want to pound businesses. I mean, I appreciate the guy from Rotolo's and Rouse's. I really do, because they are the heart and soul of what makes the country and the state roll. They're small business people. They made the investments. They had the blood, sweat, and tears. And if they didn't have to fight regulation and taxes, they probably would really roll. It breaks my heart when I see somebody like Mr. Rotolo, and I wish I knew him because I'd call him and put him on the air. They want to expand in the beautiful Alexandria, Louisiana market. I think the market is a good market, and it's a place that they could expand and people will enjoy what they do. And yet, they got to sit there and say, we might not can expand if you put this stupidity tax, which thank God for cat scratch fever, which is conservatism. And so all of a sudden they say, look, we probably we can't expand. And the same thing with Rouse's. I mean, I know the grocery stores, because they got them here and they got them all over. You know, when they look up and they start looking at what's going to happen to them, they can't lose. People don't understand this. If you make it where businesses lose money, the businesses go home. Can we understand that? If you can't make a profit, so you can keep your lights on. See, within your profit, with money made, then you got the cost of doing business, you got your sales and the cost of doing business. And at the bottom line is, here's what we make. People understand these big grocery stores or any business. So 50, 100, 500 employees. They use air conditioners to cool their place and heaters to heat it back up in the summer and the winter. And when one of those goes out, it's not free to fix. It's not. People make mistakes in businesses. Individuals, they got to pay for that. They got to pay for everything. So a lot of times the margins of a business making it are small. I can tell you a business right now that's struggling. And people that are going to listen to this understand what I'm talking about. Okay? Car business. Struggling right now. And I know there was a big car convention in New Orleans, and not manufacturing, but some of the dealers. There's like 53, 54 dealerships, and between all of them, hardly none of them are making money. I got the figures from 2 car dealerships, one I know and one I didn't know, but the cat tax was going to cost them somewhere between $800,000 and over $1 million a year. And remember, they got the mandate from Obamacare, which I know some of them have cost them over $500,000. Those are small margins. Small margin. See, a restaurant, I'm sorry, a restaurant, a grocery store, they don't live on big margins. They live on a margin, and because of the volume, they can make money, and they got to turn cash or they're out of business. You people that have never owned a business, don't think everybody that's in business is filthy rich, because that's a lie. That's an outright lie. There's some people that became filthy rich. Good for them. Good for them. I have no problem with that. I'm not jealous of any of them. I don't think they ought to be taxed any harder than you and me. Who was the idiot? Who's the person from Shreveport called me? Corporations only pay $300 million. Corporations ought to not pay nothing. They're the ones that provide everything for them. Jobs for people. We all pay income taxes, sales taxes, and all property taxes. We pay all that. Who wants to handcuff I've never seen this before. We want to handcuff our businesses that are struggling. That don't make any sense at all. Somebody's in quicksand. Quick. Throw them a 200-pound leaded weight. That's what you do. Somebody in quicksand, they're struggling to get on top. Don't lift them a hand or throw something they can grab. You can pull them out. Throw them a weight. Throw them a 200-pound weight. Tell them, catch this. Who does that? Jay Darden and Bill Edwards is doing that. Sam Jones tried to do it. No, that's not what you do. But how hard you got to explain this? The other thing that bothers me is Edwards keeps going, Republicans in the House. It's in their court. No, it's not. It's in your court. So just turn to John Bell Edwards and make the great one come forward and tell us what we need to do. Hell, he put us in this position. He should be able to tell us how to get out of it, correct? All right, Warren and Milton, you're up first. Your phone calls are, well, if you want to be part of the program, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. We do have a lot of stuff, including Al Gore wanting $15 trillion to stop man-made global warming. Just $15 trillion, folks, that's all. Chump change foul. We'll be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. What a great day to be here, folks. Beautiful Wednesday. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. Let's go to Warren in Milton, Louisiana. Warren, how you doing, sir?
Great. Finally, some good news, and I give y'all at the station, all of y'all credit for the good news. Minu got runded over, and it's just an awesome day. We've been waiting for some good news, and I tell you, them guys up there, they're some cookie monsters. They're addicted to other people's money.
Yep.
But I give y'all all the credit in the world. I just want to thank you. I feel good today.
No, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. If you're going to give credit to anybody for getting a pop of this cat tax, and I'm being real blunt with you, give credit to the business community. The business community looked at this thing, and they knew it was bad from day one. They are the ones that ripped this to pieces from day one. And I'm being honest with you, Warren. I'm very kind of you, but I'm just telling you, the business community saw what this was and what it was going to do. And that's why, listen, the governor comes up. I want you to think about this. The governor, Bill Edwards, the one-term governor, comes up with a plan after he got this task force together to tell him what to do so the press could tell everybody what are the geniuses in the task force. And then he went on his own separate way. But this is the telling point. You have a tax, and he knows the business community was against this, thank God. And you don't even go help present it on the floor. You're not there in support. Even if you didn't say a word, he could have sat back and been there proud of his tax. Him and Jay, maybe Jay Darden was there. I hadn't been told if Jay was there or not. But I know this, Jay never talked on it. I never seen anything that he said on it. Sam Jones was out there by himself, and maybe some other elected officials. But why didn't the governor stand tall with his tax plan? Why didn't he go up down to the Senate, or the House, should I say, Ways and Means? Why didn't he go talk to him about it? Why wasn't he there to present it, that he really meant this is what we need to do? And I'm telling y'all, I'm starting to believe this was fake left, go right. Actually, fake right, go left. And that's what I think this was. I don't think he ever had any intention of this passing. He wants him to go back and start back with the task force again. Now, the problem I got, too, is he's blaming the Republicans in the House. They got to fix everything. Well, they got Republicans in the Senate. But see, John Hilario owns them like a bunch of wet paper dogs. I mean, he owns them all. All he's got to do is whistle. And they all come running.
Well, I tell you, Moon, I refuse to buy a newspaper, and I think there's a lot of people that are like me, and we get our information from y'all, and we've been kept well informed on a lot of things that previously we weren't. So I want to give y'all credit for that, because you got some great callers, and I learn a lot listening to the program, way better than I could get from any newspaper. So I think I need to give y'all credit for that.
Well, I'm just telling you, and I appreciate that, but the real winners here are the business community, and they did step up, and I'm thankful for them. All right, let's go to the Lafayette. Go to Jody. Jody, how you doing? Jody, how you doing? Now I got you. How you doing, Jody?
Hey, pretty good, and yourself?
Doing fine, sir.
Hey, quick question. On this task force that all these governors seem to get, is that legislators that are put together from the budget committee, or is this a consultant company?
Well, it depends. This particular task force was put together by one other than Governor John Bell Edwards. John Hilario sat on it. Jay Darden sat on it. And then they go get, I think there was maybe somebody from PAR, Cable. They go get a few people in the business, a few people from the government arena, and they put them on a task force, and then they say, hey, bring back what we ought to be doing. And when that's brought back as by the way, they didn't look at spending. There was never a look at the spending side of government.
Okay. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, all they looked at was all they looked at was how do we bring more revenue in. That's it. And they didn't look at, maybe we have a big time spending problem. And let me tell you what I base that off too, Jody. Our little state, which I love dearly, and you can tell I love it. Our little state can only produce X amount of dollars of revenue. Right. Okay. Once we go beyond that, you start to hurt the businesses and the people. We're beyond that now. Okay? If we really believe economic development is going to stick billions of dollars more into higher ed, it ain't going to work that way. Who's going to create the jobs? The private sector creates those kind of jobs. And
they're the ones that are being punished.
Being punished, really, think about what the governor keeps saying. He said it again yesterday. Okay? Businesses are not paying their fair share.
Which is a lie.
Well, businesses move the tax to you and me, so nobody call and say, well, I understand that. But when businesses have that tax and they competing in this state and around the country and the world, it makes it an unfair business tax to them. They can't compete. It's really that simple. It doesn't mean businesses aren't passing it to you and me, but if the cost of goods and services get higher, we can spend less on those goods and services. We got a whole lot of money. Well, their businesses don't do as well, and government doesn't get. Remember, we need to shake the hands of teachers and shake the hands of a police officer and a state police. I love those people.
Oh yeah,
but without the private,
it's ridiculous with what we have to put out of pocket for her classroom because the school board and the government has their hands tied. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, the thing about it is that, and it's real simple, is that if businesses are not here and they're not producing jobs and producing goods and services and all the stuff they do, there's no money for state police. We need state police. There's no money for education and teachers. We need it. We need tax base. I'm not anti-tax. I'm anti-big tax, and I think we've gone beyond that. So
myself.
People can do what they want to. If they want to run every business out of here, You think it's hard now? Let them run the businesses out of here and see how hard it will be to create the tax base that you need to go. Why do you think we constantly want more federal money? Because they just want to keep growing what they're doing.
Growing the budget.
Hey, let me ask the last question for you, Jody. Have you read anything or seen anything about any spending reform? Have you seen anything from any legislature or the governor saying we got to change the way we do business?
Out of the 56 pages of bills that I went through for this current session, nothing on spending reform, nothing on living off the means of basically last year or 2 or 3 years budgets prior to this year, nothing. So that was my question with you, is if we're paying a consulting firm to tell us how to balance the checkbook, I mean, these guys, I've said it before, these guys in Baton Rouge are the most educated idiots in the world, as well as D.C. They can't fathom how to freaking balance a checkbook when I learned that in business math in 8th or 9th grade.
I know that, but what happens is it becomes such a political game because it's about money. It's not about doing what's right. Yep. These guys know this. These ladies and gents know this. They just don't want to admit it because they want the projects to come back home. That's another mistake we're making. Municipalities, if they want something, bring a tax, just like the school board tax here in Lafayette and probably some other taxes. They decided they want money. They're bringing it to the people. There's a big argument back and forth and what's right and what's wrong and who's got the right numbers. That's the way it ought to be. Now, when Saturday comes and the election's over, if the tax passes, the people decided they wanted the tax. If it fails, the people decided no more. But going back to Baton Rouge, and Baton Rouge has to tell you what you can and can't do locally, that's a problem. And the municipalities are sitting there wanting their money. And the state can't afford it anymore. That's the bottom line. We just can't afford. We can't afford any more of this good government we've been getting for the last 40 years. All this good government, it gets expensive. Anyway, got to go. Thanks, Jody. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. We'll take a break. Be right back. Hi, y'all are. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. You're a laughing talk show host. Enjoying life. Maybe way more than I should. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, Brandon Como enjoying being on this program. You remind me of my wife in only one way.
Wait, what?
You remind me of my wife in one way.
Okay.
I think she married me to laugh at me. I think you standing here to laugh at me too.
Oh man!
Well, like my daddy used to say, son, learn to laugh at yourself. I was about 9 or 10. Why is that, Dad? He said, hell, everybody else is laughing at you. You may as well learn to laugh at yourself too.
He
really did tell me that, by the way.
You need to let me know the next time you do one of those lyric readings. Now, y'all think Moon's singing is bad. Go listen to him read lyrics from like Florida Georgia Line or something.
Oh, my God. That was a lot of fun.
Was hilarious.
That was fun. Now, I'm going to tell you what. If they ever ask me to do that again, I'll do it.
So you haven't done it again since then?
No, I think that's why.
Yeah. Well, for those listening, one of our sister stations, 97.3 The Dog, had Moon come in and read lyrics from Florida Georgia Line.
That was funny.
That was hilarious.
I remember doing that. But that was also a lot of fun.
Yes.
I mean, that really was. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Let's see. By the way, they mentioned again Philip DeVilliers, Republican of Eunice. Remember the House Ways and Means Committee that crafts tax policy, emphasized the same thing Monday in an interview with USA Today Network. By the way, let me back up. This is a Greg Hilburn article. It might be true. There's a better chance it won't be. He says we start with a standstill budget. This is such common sense. It's the way we live. You live. I know what I made last year. I don't know about y'all, but I'm basically trying to live on the same thing I did last year. Take the health care cost out. Okay, I'm in the same budget. If I pay my truck off this year, I'm taking that money and I'm putting it back. I'm going to stay in the same budget. Why can't the legislature do that? What is wrong with this? Standstill budget. This is what we have. Brandon, when they get to about half the year, if they got another $200 or $300 million they can spend, fine, spend it. That's fine if that's what you want. And I like the idea of only spending 94, 95, 96% of what we got coming in. And we don't have all this stuff. What is anything wrong with that, folks? Bell Edwards says, now this is what this is all about now. I continue to believe the fifth penny should roll off the books. Well, this is my question. Why did John Bell Edwards, led by John Alario, put it on the books? See, folks, this one penny, re-election for him. He thinks it is. I think he gets beat either way. Re-election. His people hate that penny. I don't like it either, because what we did was, and I tried to explain that to a representative yesterday, you just added $1.2 billion to the budget. Folks, this stuff is not that complicated. It's really not. They make it complicated. If you know you got let's do this. If you know you got $1,000, you can only spend $950 of the $1,000. Then you take the $950 and you plug in the most important thing. They don't want to do that. I'll say it again. If anybody can tell me one thing, one time that they talked about spending reform, I would sure love to see it. Edwards still has some pieces of the package to play, but the death Tuesday of the cat, a corporate sales tax directed primarily at large businesses, had originally been the biggest component of the $850 million before it was amended. By the way, they keep throwing those the large businesses. Small businesses would have paid too, up to $750. Edwards said the Ways and Means Committee and inevitably rejection of commercial tax was an affront. Listen to this. He says it was an affront to fairness. Repeating his theme. You ready? Businesses aren't paying their fair share. That's the affront. 80% of businesses don't pay any corporate sales tax. I won't say it again. A lot of people form corporations, but they never act upon them. I formed one time, Brandon. I never acted upon it, so I got rid of it. He says it's not fair, not balanced, and not right for the people of Louisiana. You businesses have to pay your fair share, whether you... And by the way, that's a joke. Brandon, by the way, I hit something over here. All right, you got it. All right,
you keep hitting buttons over there.
Well, I put my papers over here to my left.
Yeah.
Rex in Shreveport.
If we get any
how you doing,
random
Rex?
commercials fired off, just blame it on Moon.
I'll blame it on you. You can blame it on me. Rex, how you doing, sir?
I'm all right, man.
Rex, I'm glad you're laughing because I at least got you laughing, unless you're doing something off there.
No, I'm going to wait for that.
All right,
I got
brother.
that scheduled for 11.
All right, good.
No, you got to talking about reading the lyrics. That got me kind of sidetracked. Hey, real quick, there was a guy out in L.A. at KHJ that had Gregory Peck on the air on his morning show reading the lyrics to Obla Di Obla Da, and it was just hilarious. Gregory Peck, the big actor.
Wow.
But anyway, hey, you know, a family is a business. Would we not agree on that?
Absolutely.
Right?
After family business
Okay.
is what we ought to be all about doing is family business.
Okay, then I have a question. You remember here a couple of years ago, well, let me just tell you, I know for a fact, because I have driven without insurance for a while, not now, but I have. When I went to pay the fine, which I knew was going to be due, I had it set for $250. It was over $800 to reinstate the tags on my car.
Yeah.
When I finally got around to getting insurance, it's going up and up and up to where now I think if you look at the law, they actually they will give you the option to finance your fine to
course.
reinstate the tags on your car. It's that bad. So the business as a family now has to deal with that. And
Now, can I ask you a
people-
question, Rex? Don't you feel
Yes,
like that's another mandate? Because we keep hearing about
Absolutely.
all these mandates the state has to pay. Go to the American family and see the mandates they have to pay. Income tax, sales tax, insurance on your vehicle, several vehicles, insurance on your house, flood insurance if you're in a bad area. We got mandates on top of mandates for the American family.
This whole, you know what? But let me quick point here. I think this whole thing is to vilify business and corporations, while these people sit on the corner here in West Shreveport and hold signs for people like Bell Edwards.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
and they elect these people in because they want free money. At the same time, they're being programmed with all this BS about corporations being the guilty parties about not paying their fair share. When in reality, it's the citizen. It is the consumer is the only place where you're going to get money.
And what do corporations do? They get money from the consumer.
Yeah, but hold up, though. But Rex, it's set up that way. If I'm a company, I got to figure in all my costs when I go sell an advertisement. So I got to figure Brandon gets a salary. I got to pay a pretty good not penalty, but I got to pay a pretty good cost to be on a network. You know, I got travel expenses, this expense, that expense. I put all that together when I price stuff out and I get a fair market value. That's what a company does. But if you keep popping a company with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars worth of taxes, for them to stay in business, they got to cover the cost of doing business and show a profit. Because if they don't, they're out of business. So the middle class, the working middle class in this country pays most of the taxes and do most of the working and living in this country. And I'm telling you right now, whatever Bell Edwards and Jay Darden comes up with, and they're one of many, whatever they come up with will be to take money from you and me. I don't know if you're middle class, but I'm very middle class. Take it from us, and then they're gonna declare victory.
I don't know if it's so big, but I don't even know what to do. Okay, we need to laugh. That's what we got to do. Okay.
Well, I laugh at a lot of stuff.
Yeah, look, man, I'm 62 years old, Moon. Come on. I remember I paid cash for my children when they were born. We walked out of the hospital. I didn't have any insurance. I didn't need it. You know, now to have a kid, what is it, $10,000-$12,000?
I don't know.
When I had my kids.
I don't know. When Brandon has a baby, I'm going to ask him, though.
Oh, no.
Why don't you?
I will. He's right here. I'm going to be able to ask him. Hopefully, we're still hanging around.
I think it's time for the music to play.
I hope when Brandon has his 5 children, I'm here for every one of them. And then I'll ask him how much it costs. Anyway, I got to run, Rex.
Goodbye.
Thanks for the call, brother. All right, more to come in the second hour, including man-made global warming. They only want $15 trillion to save the world. That's all, $15 trillion. That's all. I bet the United States is expected to pay $13.5 trillion of it. Quack, quack. So we'll get to that and a host of other things as the program unfolds. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. If you'd like to be part of the program, it is an opportunity for you to be a voice. Brandon, what was the number? You said ESPN's laid off how many?
100 workers, including a lot of on-air personalities. They won't say who the on-air personalities are, but they're going to release a new schedule soon of what their shows will be, what they're changing to.
Well, I know this. If it wouldn't be for games, I've really laid off, especially since they started their 5 o'clock sports program with, I think, 2 of their worst stars on there. I just don't watch it anymore.
But from what I understand, they've been safe now. I don't know if that's going to change, but they like them a lot. Jamel and Michael Hill, or I don't know how you say his last name.
I don't care.
Jamel Hill, to
me, they're horrible.
Yeah,
and but that's fine. People don't listen to me.
I'm not a fan myself.
Well, I know. I'm just saying I just can't watch them. You know, there's alternative ESPN channels if you just want to watch sports. I like to watch the sports, and they move through, and I told you, the talk radio probably took their lead of covering a lot of subjects and moving on, but they started too much politics. Just way too much to the left for me now. I just think it's ridiculous what they try to do, and that's fine. Let them do it. But if they're letting people go, their money's down, their revenue's down, and I think it still goes back probably before Kaepernick did what he did, but I think that definitely raised the bar of people wanting to run away from that.
Yep.
So they'll either make the adjustments right. I don't care what happens to them. I really don't. I'm just to the point of not even worrying about that stuff anymore. And you know me, I'm a sports guy. I really love them, but I just soon go watch the local teams and the local university. Is to go watch any of that anymore. It's that's more of a soap opera now than soap operas. Sports has become more of a soap opera than actual soap operas. And so I'm just, By the way, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. It's your opportunity to be a voice, as we've talked a lot about state stuff. Will this one broke my heart and made me mad. Will a GOP fund Planned Parenthood but not border walls? And they took an article, cnsnews.com, and they quoted Trump on all this. I'm going to get rid of Obamacare. But this is not on Trump. This is on Republicans. Folks, you know how easy it would be to defund somebody that kills babies and sells body parts for a living. It's the easiest thing for them to do. I don't care what anybody says. Just don't fund them anymore. Don't fund them anymore. Appropriation begin building a wall. They can't build a wall. Now all of a sudden we're going to continue to fund a murder organization, actually ripping and Planned Parenthood. Look how nasty those people are. Look what craziness, selling body parts. We're just going to keep looking the other way. And I'm telling you, Republicans are going to pay another price. When the Republicans pay a price next time, the country will pay a big-time price. We got an election, a pro-life majority in Congress of the United States of America. You know, and yet we cannot get rid of funding the worst organization that ever came across. That's taxpayer-funded abortions and abortion providers like Planned Parenthood. Selling of body parts. I mean, eating salad and drinking wine, laughing about selling body parts. That's satanic. They're sick. And you got, all of a sudden, you have a Republican-controlled Congress. You defund Planned Parenthood in 2 seconds. Well, that's not all we do. It may not be all you do, but it's what you do that's really bad. Wiping out of children like that. I mean, it's unbelievable. How can we allow this? Trump said he was going to try to do it, but Trump can't do it by himself. Once again, weak Republicans, just like you see these weak-minded Republicans in Baton Rouge, they're even weaker up there. See, all they really care about is getting reelected. It's not really about doing what's right. Not the moral side, not the right and wrong side, not the financial side. I said it again. Right, the first paper I wrote, before I even got on the radio, didn't even know I was going to get on the radio, was if you take the modern-day politicians and go back and look at the then Pharisees of their time, you will see such a resemblance. The Pharisees of our time is the modern-day politician. Maybe not 100% of them, but a lot of them. Watch what we do. Watch what we say. Honor me. I'm a politician. Same thing at Baton Rouge. Some of these little worms, when they do that, they same thing. They want to be honored for what they do. Okay? But the Pharisees stood on a corner and look at me. Look at me. Look how good I am. Modern day politicians. Planned Parenthood should be defunded so quick. They should have already done it. But you got these weak Mickey Mouse yellow Republicans who won't do anything about it. And that to me blows my mind. Trump wants to do it. Trump would do it. But you got Congress has to play a part. And they're not playing the part that they need to play. Can you imagine funding Planned Parenthood that only does what? Destroy little babies. And it doesn't matter what they do good. It's quote good. It's what they do overall. ESPN, here it is, to cut 100 personalities. I don't know how they pay all them people anyway. But part of it is all that Kaepernick stuff. And no matter what anybody says, that's part of it. That is no doubt part of it. So anyway, it's a shame, but that's part of it. So let them cut them. Brandon, you already helped yourself TV-wise. Don't say what you did. I ain't there yet, Brandon, but you know what? I'm leaning. What little bit of TV I watch now has everything to do around probably a game or something like that. And here I got this story now. ESPN got 100 employees today.
Yeah. Numbers
is much bigger than the 40, 50 that was initially reported. It's all about money. They said all on-air talent. Brandon, that's going to be interesting. They have 1,000 such people that are on air. Remember, ESPN's worldwide, too.
Yeah.
So be interested to see what they cut. Let me see. They didn't say any names. The example of success is current strategy. Statement out. Scott Van Pelt, nighttime, the 6 p.m. Sports Center, hosted by Jamel Hill and Michael Smith. I got to tell you.
These are the ones that are safe, is what you're saying.
That's what it looks like to me. But
I don't think
if they're safe, I can't even watch that, man.
I think there's a lot of people even in this area that like Scott Van Pelt.
Van Pelt's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The other two, I mean, that's good TV. Then I need to quit watching it altogether. I don't know what good TV is. It's not entertaining. It's not funny. They are so far to the left. All that stuff bothers me when I go do sports. It's to get away from politics. Just me. Okay, you may not. You may love politics and sports, and it's probably always been there. If the truth is known. World watches as Confederate monuments come down at our boy Mitch Landrieu, who voted for a rebel flag, Confederate flag, to be put on license plates. Now he's tough. Amazing. All right, let's go to phone lines. We go to Philip in Lafayette. Philip, how you doing?
Hey, Moon.
Yes, sir.
Good talking to you, brother. Moon, you got smart listeners, and I know they are, but I want you to remind them that this federal government shutdown business, there's no such thing as the federal government shutting down. Does that mean, Moon, we don't have to send in our taxes since the government shut down? The money comes in every day to those son of a guns, right?
Hey, try that and see where it gets you. Try that one and see where it gets you. Look, man, the whole thing on a shutdown is PR for the left to get people all pumped up to not like the Republicans. That's simple. And by the way, the Republicans make me not want to like them too, but for different reasons. This is strictly politics at its best. All right, let me back up. Not at its best, at its worst.
Yeah, I hope they do it, Moon, because they say, it's up to the president at the time to what they cut back at the time it shuts down.
Yeah.
So Trump would make what shut down different departments than Obama did.
You see you make a good point. Here's what I'm doing with Trump. You let it do it, it's okay. Department of Education's gone. Don't fund it.
Yeah, eliminate it.
Planned Parenthood, whatever that's under, that's gone. Hey, how about the Energy Department? I mean, that was supposed to be to get us all foreign oil, gone. I just shut those down. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. And Moon, they always talk about certain things, they laying off the non-essentials. Well, all those jobs aren't essential? Why are we paying them?
Dude, there's a ton of jobs that's not essential that they call essential. You know who it's essential to? It's essential to the people that have them. I admit that. It's essential to those people. And I don't want anybody to ever lose their job, but come on, man, we can't afford it. And if we can't afford it, you make a good point. Let Trump go through and find out the things we really don't need, and then say, okay, we're shutting this down, and shut it down for 6 months, and let's see if we really need it. My gut feelings, we wouldn't need a lot of it.
Absolutely, Moon. Like you say, shut the federal education department down, give it to the states where it should be anyway, right?
Yep.
Grant that tax money back to the states and let the local people educate their kids like it's supposed to be.
Well, that's something we still hope he does. Appreciate the call. By the way, the courts ruled against Trump with sanctuary cities and say you still got to send them money. That's pitiful. We got a president trying to protect the country and people trying to protect the country, and sanctuary cities are just outright wrong. You can't even cut their funding. Federal government, Congress could stop a lot of funding that goes to sanctuary cities. All they got to do is cut it. Let them cry about it. What they going to do? We got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Take a break. Be right back. How y'all all? Welcome back. Music. Speaking of music, Brandon, how y'all all? Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Festival International starts tomorrow.
And this guy right here will be performing, Mark Broussard.
There it is. Brandon already hit it because he knew he was talking about over 300,000 festival goers every year. Brandon, they're talking about maybe 400,000 in Lafayette, 48 states, 25 countries, people all over the place down in Lafayette. So if you're a festival person and you like music and you like good food and you like a heap good time, this is where you want to be this week. And by the way, Brandon, I want to say it again. It starts tomorrow, goes through Sunday.
Oh, no, it starts tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah. Today's Wednesday. 26th? Yes.
Oh, you know what? Happy birthday to my wife. Almost forgot.
Don't forget that.
No, that's right. I knew it started on my wife's birthday.
Yep.
By the way, she's out of town. She'll be back through tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, I took care of her, Brandon. Don't worry about that. But it does start tonight.
You can't be the person giving me advice and then messing up on your end.
I'm not going to mess up on my
No,
end.
no.
I've messed up on my end many a time. That's why I give you advice.
That's why you give you advice. Yeah.
But Brandon, this is a really, really the biggest international festival. This thing is gigantic. And for people that want to have fun, this is a great one to come into. And the food this year, they not only we have the great food from around here, but Brandon, they jazzing that up a little bit since you got all these countries and all these different bands coming in here and all this music. They're going to have some food to go along with the culture of the music. And that's going to make it a neat deal. Now, by the way, let me give them one more thing. Festivalinternational.org. Brandon, if they go there, they can find out just about everything they need, all the events. Am I correct?
Oh, you're right about that. They've got the lineup of all the musicians that'll be coming in town, whether they're local, whether they're international. They've got a ton of musicians performing on multiple stages. Wednesday, which is today, through Sunday. So you want to go check out the schedule there. Also, you want to be able to go check out their shop where you can buy some Festival International gear, some really nice gear they have for you there. Also, you've got where you can check out their festival passes, get more information on that where you can see the music up close and personal. I mean, again, you've got, huge crowds going to be going out there, and it's always a great time. But here's a chance where, again, you can see the music up close and personal. You can skip some of the long lines that you have to deal with. And I mean, again, you can just go and be treated like a VIP. So you can buy your festival pass by going to festivalinternational.org.
Yeah. Fun time for all starts tonight. Like I said, Brandon, my time is going by way too fast.
Well, I feel like it's Thursday today. I think you feel like it's Tuesday today.
Brandon, I was glad to get up today.
Yeah.
I just sent you some on your phone. I want you to print that too. All right, let's take some phone calls. We'll start with John in St. Landry Parish. How you doing, John?
I'm doing fine, and you, Moon?
Man, I'm hanging in there, man. Despite myself, I'm hanging in there.
Well, thank you for what you do for the state. The reason I'm calling, I hate hidden taxes, and our water is delivered through a rural
Sure.
Water system.
Yes, sir.
And we pay $1 a month per meter for supposedly the Board of Health to test our water. And I called them up, and they said that it's every meter, even inside the cities. And I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but I'd like to know where that money is going to. Does it just go into the general fund?
No, I don't know. I mean, that's somebody that deals with the local stuff could tell you that better than me.
And, I mean...
But by the way, it's a great question. I have no problem with the question. Somebody needs to answer it.
Well, if you have a listener that knows for sure, and I'm just taking the lady's word, that's what she told me. But I know it on my bill because I looked at it and I said, "What's this?" And then my wife told me, she said, "Well, we've been paying that." I said, "Oh, crap. They done passed it to us again." But if somebody knows out there, call in and let us know.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. West Monroe we go. Go to Robert. Robert, how you doing?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Man, hard work and dedication. At least that's what I tell people.
Well, man, I remember the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and we have fought tirelessly trying to stop this mess about the Confederate War Memorial being taken down. Man, I'll be honest with you. This is the way I look at it. If a statue offends you, then you need help because they keep saying they're symbols of hate and racism. Well, in my opinion, the only symbols of hate and racism are those trying to eradicate the Confederate heritage. That's just my opinion. I think this is a waste of money that's going on. I think
it's all, as you know, it's 100% politics. Mitch Landrieu looks like a fool on this, but he can't win an election statewide anymore. So, all right, when we get back, Brandon, I'm going to send you a judge. The judge weighs in on why Trump's defeat on sanctuary cities is a temporary one. 6 minutes long. Send this to you. This looks pretty good. All right, we'll take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Official sports part of Moon Griffon Show. Of course, his walk-ons be coming to a place near you because they are growing by leaps and bounds all over the great state of Louisiana and the country. So, official sports part of Moon Griffon Show. We love walk-ons. You will too. By the way, Trump just ended Obama's African Ebola amnesty. In a refreshing move, the Trump administration limited one of Barack Obama and saying Obama many his outrageous amnesty initiative. This one involving illegal immigrants from Africa, countries affected by Ebola. The Ebola amnesty scandal got buried in the hoopla of the administration's broad executive order protecting millions of illegal aliens, Mexicans, and Central Americans. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what Obama did to this country, and his people don't see it. By the way, how did he lift up inner cities in the 8 years he was here? How did he lift all these inner cities? I mean, them rising tides, you know? Didn't do it. The biggest failure we've ever had, and the one that's hurt us the most. Barack insane Obama. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. By the way, for you people that are following the school board tax that's going to come up this weekend, I hadn't been involved in that. I kind of move on. Jeff Landry has issued an opinion, Attorney General, and it went against the school board's claim that the tax is dedicated. The official note that the any lawful purpose language of proposal drawn an important difference from the language contemplated under the opinion. This opinion should not be read to support the proposition that the funds to be collected, to be proposed, will be dedicated solely to the plans of projects referenced therein. It's not dedicated. Jeff Landry, Attorney General. By the way, they were using some kind of opinion on Richard Ayoub years ago and all that stuff. This just came across. Word is some school board people are very nervous now. Interesting to see what happens with that. That's an Attorney General opinion. That's just they were using Attorney General opinion. What about it now? 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Big Ben in Lafayette. Mr. Ben, how you doing, sir?
What you say, Godfather? How you doing?
Man, oh, my God. I love you, Ben, but you're killing me, brother. Go ahead.
my Godfather. I need some wisdom.
You come to the wrong place. What you got? What you got, bud?
Biggest thing, Foster to me was a disappointment, and Jindal for sure was a disappointment. Have you heard anything going around that Jeff Landry might run for governor?
Yeah, I heard that, but I heard that a while back. But I think most of what you're hearing, and this is my opinion, Ben, and I know Jeff. My opinion is Jeff Landry will not be the one running for governor. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's going to run. I really don't. I don't even think he has plans on running. But what happens is, because Jeff has challenged the governor, they put his name out there and say, that's only because he wants to run. I do think if nobody steps forward to run against Bell Edwards, which I think is going to be a bunch of people want to run against him, then you could see somebody like Jeff jump in it. But I think the chances of him running are a lot slimmer than the chances of him running are a lot slimmer than the chances of him not running. I really believe that.
Have you heard any good conservative Republicans' names that you could give
Well,
out?
It's funny, and I hadn't asked him, and I'm not going to. The general consensus is, you're probably going to be a little shocked about this. I keep hearing John Kennedy wants to run.
Really?
Well, hold on. Let me back up. The word is Kennedy always wanted to be governor. Of course, he just won a senatorship. I tell you, give you a few other names. Garrett Graves, congressman of Baton Rouge. Ralph Abraham, congressman in Monroe. And there's a couple other names. I don't remember them being real big names, but I do remember those. Landry's name is out there. There's no doubt about it, so I'm not denying that. And I have not asked him personally. My gut feeling is Jeff's not the guy that's trying to run. And don't get me wrong, if nobody steps up, but I think there's going to be a bunch of people who would love to run against Edwards. I mean, I really do, because I think he's a one-termer. I'm just telling you, in my mind, what he's trying to do to the state, he's a one-termer.
Well, if Kennedy ran, he wouldn't have to give up his seat in the Senate.
No, sir, he would not. He would, let's see, this is his first year, second year. He would be in his third year as a senator. So if he wins, of course, he'd have to give that up. He would also get to appoint the next senator.
Yeah.
If he loses, he goes back and become a senator.
Well, Godfather, that's why I called and asked. Because you have so much wisdom that I don't even think about.
If I didn't think you were being facetious, I'd punch you. But I know you are. But hey,
Godfather, Merry
Ben,
Christmas.
Ben, I'm the best guy to have fun with because I can learn to laugh at myself, unlike some people.
There you go, big guy. Thank you now.
Ben, you the man. I knew this guy always has fun with me. That's why I like him. But as far as the wisdom stuff, we let us pray. That's all I can tell you is let us pray. Trey in West Monroe. How you doing, Trey? Trey wanted to talk about the Planned Parenthood. Did he act like he was pro-Planned Parenthood?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay, I'm about to say.
No, not at all.
They slaughtered innocent children. And here we are worrying about funding them. There should be no funding of Planned Parenthood. Not a penny. Not one penny. And what they'll come back and say, well, we got other things we do. We don't do abortion. We got other. No, they don't. The big number one kick is to kill babies. Letter to the editor. It's in several of the newspapers. Blake Miguez. You know, we've had him on here a couple of times. Blake seems to be one of the tough guys. Louisiana's spending problem, plain and simple. Well, you got that right. As a business executive and manager of my household finance, I learned a basic financial principle that you can't spend more money than you take in without going broke. Louisiana's spending problem, it should follow the same basic principle. To do otherwise would be as successful as free falling without a parachute while knitting a kite in the hope of defying gravity. No secret state spending projections are outpacing revenue projections. In fact, expenditures are outpacing the national GDP by a rate of 2.5 to 1. This will lead to continuing budget shortfalls year after year regarding if you support a tax or cut approach to balancing the budget. Government should never be allowed to grow at a rate faster than the private sector, and that's what's happening in Louisiana. Great point by Blake. That's why the conversation in Baton Rouge should be focused on spending reform. Then, by the way, let me stop there. They're not focusing on spending reform. They never have. And not on how much to raise taxes on hardworking families and businesses in my district, many of whom have faced tough economic times since the slowdown of oil and gas industry. I'm not going to read all the numbers. Just not. It's just the numbers that can be confusing. Only because I'm reading them, not because they're confusing. So, he says, but how can, let's see, he goes on and says, in business, no, he said it comes down to what is the definition of a cut. In business, in my household, a cut means we had less money to spend this year than we had last year. State government, it means something very different. And this is why Louisiana has found itself in a financial peril. The first step in a solution to a problem is the standstill budget, which is necessary to get Louisiana back on a path of financial stability. Now, I'm glad he's saying that because we talked to Jean-Paul Cousson yesterday, and he said the same thing. That means the Gang of Eight is coming along with the real conservatives. A standstill budget based on the past mid-year budget cut over the next 2 years would cut the projected fiscal cliff by more than half. This means giving state government the same amount of money that it received last year, not a dollar more. Any plan that is adopted by the legislature to solve the state's ongoing budget problems must start here and not with the increase of taxes. Representative Miguez, District 49, House Appropriations Joint Legislative Committee on Budget member. And he's right on the money. Folks, a standstill budget. Knowing what you have coming in and working the budget off of that, we won't have all this up and down craziness. And by the way, Jindal didn't invent it. Him and John Alario and Jim Big Lake Fannin perfected it. And Bell Edwards has done exactly the same thing last year and 4 months or whatever he's been governor, 3 months. Using one-time money, raising taxes. Jindal raised taxes too. Let's go to Rick in Shreveport. Rick, how you doing?
Just wanted to pass along a little anecdote. A while ago, y'all were musing about the cost of having children these days.
Yeah.
True story. Back when I got back from the Marine Corps out of Southeast Asia in 1971, my prize for coming home safely was my son, who was born the following July. At that time, the state of Louisiana had, in January of 1972, the state of Louisiana voted a special award, or whatever you call, for residents of Louisiana or natives who had served in Vietnam. So I put in for this bonus of $250, and that's what it was. Of course, back then it was a lot of money.
Okay.
So it came in about the week after my son was born, and I got the hospital bill for his birth. He was born on a Friday, came home on a Sunday night, so was in the hospital for 2 days, whatever. And his total hospital bill was $262.
Mm-hmm.
So my son cost me $12, which is a testimony to the absurdity of where healthcare costs have gone.
Yep, it's high. Somebody just texted me and said they had a grandbaby. After insurance, it cost them $10,000. That sounds out of whack.
Oh yeah,
it sounds out of whack. But once again, since I don't have, I do have grandbabies. I think the youngest one's about almost 2 years old, year and a half, and I never did ask about the cost of it. So.
Well, it's absurd. I'm here to tell you, particularly if you have any sort of problems, because I have a 5-year-old grandson now, and I don't know what he costs. That's just cesarean, so it was interesting. So anyway.
Yeah. All right, brother, got to run. Hickson has it hotline, 844-766-6607. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Judge Napolitano really got on this sanctuary cities, and you know, Trump said we're not going to send any money. And then they always go get a court to say you can't do that. I'm going to visit with him. I'm going to listen to him just a second because he really went off and says that it's going to still happen. I want two things real quick. Border wall talk. The Mexican officials float American entry fee. That's fine with me, Brandon. You know, if Americans don't go to Mexico, what the hell? Who's the tourists that are coming in? And illegal immigrants total fall below pre-Obama level, which is even illegals. We're talking illegals. Now, here's the judge. It's about 6 minutes, but I want you to listen to this, and we'll try to squeeze another phone call, too, if we have time. All right, go ahead.
We shopped around for a judge, and here's the one we found. His name, he answers to Andy, and he loves to laugh. Good morning, Andy.
Oh, God, good morning. It's very interesting that he said that because it is odd that these cases all keep emanating in one of the 15 states.
Not a coincidence, though. They know they're going to be successful.
So they know they are likely to be successful at the trial court, and they are very, very confident they'll be successful at the appeals court. But we do have a full Supreme Court eventually to hear these things.
How big a deal is this?
I don't think it's that big a deal because what happened is when Attorney General Sessions and Secretary Kelly said to San Francisco County and Santa Clara County, you have people in your jails. Can you hold them another 42 hours until ICE can get there? And these two counties said, no, we're not spending money for you, and you can pick these people up off the streets. And then Sessions and Kelly said, we're going to hold back funds that come to you. When the Congress gives money to states and cities, it doesn't come in one check. It comes monthly. So General Sessions and Secretary Kelly said, because you're not cooperating, we're going to hold back funds, and that will force you to cooperate. And the court said that is adding a new condition to the receipt of the funds. You must cooperate with ICE. If you wanted the cities to cooperate with ICE, that condition had to be on when the funds started. When did the funds start? Under the Obama administration. Right. Was that condition there? No, but these are yearly funds.
And this only applies to 3 different grants from the DOJ. It's not all federal funds, and it sounds like San Francisco wasn't going to lose any money at all.
Well, I don't think San Francisco was going to lose any money, but the court interpreted the language used by Attorney General Sessions as threatening San Francisco, and that gave them the basis for the lawsuit. But the president's defeat, if you will, and I go like this, in quotation marks, is a temporary one. Because in October, the new fiscal year kicks in.
All right.
And the new grants will come out. And the new grants will be written by the present Congress and signed by President Trump. And they will have in them the requirement. You want the money, you cooperate with ICE. You don't cooperate with ICE, you don't get the money.
Those who support the president feel like the criminals that are living in these sanctuary cities have more rights than the families, the taxpayers. In fact, the White House said this. This is from Sean Spicer. This decision occurred in the same sanctuary city that released the 5-time deported illegal immigrant who gunned down innocent Kate Steinle in her father's arms. San Francisco and cities like it are putting the well-being of criminal aliens before the safety of our citizens. And those city officials who authored these policies have the blood of dead Americans on their hands.
Very, very strong language, and I can understand why he feels that way and why a lot of people feel that way. But this is not all gloom and doom. Can the federal government still enforce federal law? Of course. Can they send as many ICE agents as they want to San Francisco, to Santa Clara, to Bergen County, New Jersey, to wherever they want?
They're not going to adhere to it. They're not going to adhere to it. They're not going to be turning it over to ICE. They're not going to. If they pick up illegal immigrant that has a criminal record, nothing will compel them to tell ICE they got him.
Until October 1st. when the new fiscal year, federal government fiscal year kicks in, the new funds start, and the new funds have that string attached. You want the money, you'll cooperate with us.
Does it bother you that this guy's record is all about President Obama? He had bundled money of $200,000. He gave personally $30,000, and clearly this goes against a Obama spirit.
It does not bother me because I think I read his opinion. It is well written. It's well within the mainstream, and I think he did the right thing. Look, if President Trump could change the law retroactively, then President blank, fill in the blank, who follows President Trump could change the law retroactively. We don't have procedures for that in America. We change the law going forward.
When you look at the politics of the judge, and, you know, the president referred
to... There's no question about that. He's an Obama appointee, as you'd expect.
Absolutely. Let's not talk about his politics. Let's talk about the politics for the president. When the average person watching this morning sees this news, this revs up the president's base. Look, we told you that the court system was out to get Trump.
The president knows, and you heard it from Sean Spicer, you just read the quote, how to relay this to the base. I did my thing. I did what I promised to do. It's these judges that are stopping me. I happen to think the judge did the right thing, but the victory for the sanctuary cities and the setback for the Trump administration is short-lived.
All right. Let's talk about tax reform. So the president's going to be signing an executive order framing out tax reform without going to Congress right now to try to immediately get a corporate tax cut. Is it going to fly?
Oh, I think the 15% corporate tax rate is very, very popular, and there'll be no problem with it flying. Here's where the problem will come. The president, I believe, is going to announce a goal of three-tiered individual taxes. I don't know what they are, but the top one's going down from 39.5 to 31,
so if you
which
pay
is
taxes,
terrific.
It's going to benefit you.
Correct. The problem is that there are members of Congress on both sides of the aisle who believe that when you reduce taxes, you reduce revenue, you have to reduce spending, otherwise you're just going to be borrowing more. President Trump said, I don't care about borrowing more. I think if I reduce taxes, more people will get jobs. Businesses will have more money to spend. More people will work. More people will pay taxes. By reducing the rate, we'll end up collecting more in revenue. He's going to have to persuade some reluctant people that that theory makes sense.
Including Republicans.
Including Republicans, and I think he can do it. I think he's very passionate about this.
Well, I tell you what, he feels obligated to try. He promised that he would do something for the economy, and he just tweeted 14 minutes ago this one. The U.S. recorded its slowest economic growth in 5 years for 2016. Gross domestic product up only 1.6%. Trade deficits hurt the economy very
bad. He did one thing on taxes which is truly revolutionary, never happened in American history. He ordered the IRS not to collect the tax, which is the penalty for the failure to have health insurance under Obamacare, because Obamacare soon will no longer have that requirement. No president in the history of the country has had the guts to say to the IRS, thou shalt not collect that tax, and he did.
Is this his wheelhouse? I mean, he is a businessman. He's a billionaire. He knows more than most of us about this.
He certainly knows more about numbers and how they interact than most of us, and than most of us opposition does.
Anyway, there it is, and I thought that was awesome. The new budget, you see, everything goes around what? M-O-N-E-Y. Did I spell it right? Money. It's money. This whole government big thing in the federal and the state and even local, all about the money. Anyway, if you people in Lafayette more on Jeff Landry's ruling, which really socked the school board and the people pushing for the tax in Lafayette, this really lays them out, really. So it'll be interesting to see what happens later today. It is what it is, but everything's about the money. They don't really care about you. It's not about you and me. It's not about the middle class. It's not about the workers. It's about the money. And that's all it's ever going to be about. All right, Brandon, I got to get out of here. Folks, God bless. See you tomorrow.